Guys, it's been like 3 or 4 days since we last spoken about EA, so you know what? It's fucking time to talk about EA again. Andrew Wilson, more shedded skin has been found in his office, everybody.
Gross. The way you say it's not doesn't make it clear he's a snake. It just sounds like he's got some kind of skin condition. He's got really bad eczema or something.
Michael Jackson didn't die, everybody, okay? He's just the CEO of EA right now.
So a lot has happened since the cancellation of the Star Wars game being made in Vancouver.
Yep.
We reported on that a few weeks back. It feels like a million years ago already, but it wasn't. It was literally like, what, 10 days ago or something?
But, like, you know, EA just never stops with more and more news.
And it turns out people also outside of the gaming sphere are now beginning to take note that EA are fucking this thing up royally. And it maybe even EA itself are like, hang on a second. Maybe we shouldn't have signed this deal.
Yes. It could be coming from Voldemort himself, saying he's not very happy with this deal. All that and more after the drop.
Okay, so just as background to this, obviously, Star Wars is now the property of Electronic Arts when it comes to video games. Back in 2013, they signed an exclusive agreement which would last for 10 years, where Disney said, okay, EA, we trust you guys.
Because you guys are good guys.
So good. We love your work. You do fantastic stuff. Go and make us a whole bunch of Star Wars games so we can make a bunch of money together, okay?
I wonder if they're going to renew that in 2023. I bet not. Okay.
EA Games.
So that agreement was struck, and there was the expectation there would be many games released. Turns out, since then, only 2 games have been released. The first one was Star Wars Battlefront 1, which was garbage because it was basically incomplete and had like no story and no nothing.
It felt like basic bitch controls times 9,000. It was horrendous.
Very, very, very average game.
Totally.
The second one was Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Which is a very good game.
Which is a good game.
Very good game.
With a bit of a stupid story. But it was this ultimate microtransactions, just catastrophe. Like government started getting involved in legislating video game loot boxes and stuff because of it. It couldn't have gone any worse. Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney himself, had to call Andrew Wilson and be like,
are we sure of that though? I heard that too.
It's been so widely...
Layman truth.
No. It's been so widely circulated.
Yeah, true.
I guarantee you it happened because EA have never said that.
Everyone's heard of it, just like Santa Claus, so it must be true, everybody.
Correct.
EA. No witnesses? I am the one, the way your son don't need a gun to get.
So this leads into what occurred recently where EA was working on a Star Wars game out of Vancouver. Now, this was the sort of remains of what was called Project Ragtag, which was another cancelled Star Wars game from within EA that was being developed by Amy Hennig, which looked amazing. Which was apparently going to be the Uncharted of Star Wars games, which is fucking fantastic,
and it would have definitely worked.
Oh, no question about that. It just, there's no way
unless
that
it was a microtransaction-ridden hellhole, which it could have easily been.
Which was what the EA board wanted it to be.
The reason why it didn't end up happening, because probably Amy was like, fuck you guys, we're not doing that. And they're like, okay, see you later.
Done.
It's probably what's going to probably what happened.
Deleted.
That is one big pile of shit.
So that got cancelled. Their work got rolled up into this other game with EA, under EA Vancouver. And that has just been cancelled as well. There's no understanding of why that game was cancelled. It was just kind of like called in. It was meant to be an open world single player Star Wars game. But obviously because EA has no appetite for making single player games because they can't monetize the shit out of them, they were like, fuck this, we're out.
Any game that might have some sort of moral center, they're not interested in that. Nah, it needs to be a
games, they're like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not sure about that.
Are we able to make children gamble? Well, not in this game. Well, what else you guys got?
Yeah. Obviously, when this happened, everyone went really nuts.
Totally.
And everyone in the gaming space was sort of reiterating what they'd been saying for a long time, which is, get this fucking license off this garbage fucking company.
Yeah, it was the last string. I feel like people waiting for, being somewhat excited for any IP coming their way from EA in terms of Star Wars. I know there's another one in the works, okay?
There is.
But like, dude, after this second cancellation, of course people are like, I've given up all fucking hope on this.
Correct.
And I bet you bottom dollar, this next Star Wars game probably going to be cancelled. And if it's not cancelled, it's full of microtransactions.
Yeah, that's
okay.
true.
It's the only way it's actually getting a green light.
Yeah.
We can charge anything we want, $2,000 a day, $10,000 a day, and people will pay it. And then there's the merchandise.
So it's not surprising to see, you know, the gaming commentariat sort of complaining, whinging
all the time.
Entitled gamers expecting games to be released.
How dare?
Disgusting.
How dare us.
Disgusting.
All for that news.
Turns
all for
out,
those views.
though, it's not just us entitled gamers that are pissed off. Recently, Gary Whitta, who was the screenwriter, one of the screenwriters for Rogue One, actually pretty damn good Star Wars
movie,
movie,
and he's a gamer himself.
He was actually a former, editor-in-chief of PC Gamer in both the US and UK. Former games journalist, turned to screenwriting. Very successful now.
I'm going to be,
Sam.
Of course.
Sam, right? The only screenwriting you'll be able to do is for porn.
I would be a really good writer, don't worry.
Actually, to be honest, you probably would.
On all my experiences. Please, I beg you, come on. Just once. No one has to know.
Have you been circumcised?
Yeah, I have. Why?
Well, your doctor must have cut a big portion of it off.
So that guy basically came out recently on the Kind of Funny podcast, and this is what he said about EA and their management of the Star Wars license.
Sure.
How you feeling? As a Star Wars fan, as somebody who contributed to the lore of Star Wars with Rogue One, and a video game fan, more importantly.
I mean, it's embarrassing, isn't it?
Yes.
Deal was signed in 2013. It's a 10-year deal. So we're pretty much just over halfway through the deal at this point. We're kind of at the halfway point. So let's imagine I'm Bob Iger. I'm the head of Disney. And I call in the EA guys. We're at the halfway point in the deal.
Yeah.
Let's check in and see how you guys have been doing. What do you give us a progress report? Well, we put out 2 Battlefront games, one of which didn't have a story at all, both of which were kind of mediocre.
Yeah.
And one of which ended up being a major embarrassment because of the microtransaction fiasco, not just to EA, but to Disney and the Star Wars brand. I mean, Disney had to get involved and say, sort this out because this is annoying us now. Like this at the highest levels.
This has resonated this highly.
At the highest levels of Disney and Star Wars, this is embarrassing to us.
So it's one thing, I think, for the Reddit community or the YouTube community to be angry about what they're doing with Star Wars, but it's another thing entirely for me to hear someone that's like, you know, in the creative cogs of creating Star Wars movies stories to really start speaking out and saying, you know what, you know, the baby of Star Wars that we're also working on, we feel like it's being mishandled by EA.
Correct.
You know?
So I mean, it's a big deal. I think it really shows that the general sort of tide is turning against EA with regards to this. But I think what's really surprising is an article that came out from Jason Schreier recently where he talks about EA's troubled decade with Star Wars, and he actually makes a very bold claim within that, and that is that EA's CEO, Andrew Wilson,
good old Andy,
our good mate,
we love him.
He didn't want the Star Wars deal. He's not a fan of it right now. He really doesn't like it.
I wonder why.
EA have responded to this saying it's not true. It's
I mean, of course they're going to do that, by the way. As if they're going to come out and go, yeah, you know, our most valuable IP that we've fucked up entirely, and CEO like hates it. Of course they're going to come out and say, yeah, you know, of course he loves it or whatever. But the bottom line is this. Number one, they can't monetize it correctly compared to what they've done with FIFA. They've obviously looked at this IP, tried to do the whole FIFA thing with Star Wars Battlefront 2. It didn't work. The fans hit back. So naturally, of course, Andrew Wilson isn't going to like external IP like Star Wars Battlefront 2 or Star Wars in general because they can't monetize it like they can with FIFA. You know what I'm saying?
The article says that Andrew Wilson likes to own his own IP and he likes to own his own game engines, which is why everything's been forced onto Frostbite, and they invest in stuff like Titanfall and Battlefield and Anthem, etc., right? So that's a perfectly valid perspective, but I think it goes deeper than that because, you know, if you look back at Andrew Wilson's history, the way he came up through EA was through pushing FIFA loot boxes. That's his bread and butter. That's what made him successful.
The Wilson loot box.
And that's what's really made EA as a company successful over the last few years. The Wilson loot box, you know, the idea that you can sell FIFA Ultimate Team cards.
I wonder who coined that.
You know,
I wonder who coined that.
Yeah, I wonder. So, but like, you know, so as a CEO, you lean into what you know. That's just a fact. When you're a leader of a company like that, you're not really going to be trying crazy shit outside your wheelhouse. You're going to think, what's worked for me in the past? How can I do that bigger and better here?
Totally.
Andrew Wilson, I think, tried to do that with Star Wars Battlefront 2 with its loot boxes. It's failed, and I would really hope now that they would look at this and say, okay, Star Wars is too much fucking effort for us, and we can't monetize it. The fans won't put up with it. We need to get rid of it.
I think that the problem there, because they lose face by actually turning around and saying, we're letting go of this IP, because it's admitting failure.
Activision did it with Bungie.
Sure, that's fine. I totally get that, and, you know, everyone's happy about that in terms of Bungie.
Everyone.
But in terms of the share price for Activision, did it you know, did it help Activision? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? So in EA's eyes, is it in their best interest to let go of an IP like Star Wars? I don't think it is, actually.
I don't know. I think it would be. If I was an investor, right, and I only cared about making money,
yeah,
right, I don't believe that the Star Wars games monetize as well as shitty loot boxes and gambling bullshit.
Sure.
If EA wants to be that company that just wants to make money like that, let them go and do that. Investors can buy that shit, go for it. But if you're talking about a games company that's going to invest in quality IP, make great games, and build strong relationships with fans, I don't necessarily think that translates to like massive shareholder, all the money dollars like shareholders want. I reckon if I was a shareholder, I'd be like, they're getting rid of EA. That's fine.
I think if I'm the CFO, I'm going to look at this situation and go, if we let go of Star Wars, it's going to dramatically hit our share price, because a lot of the mums and dads investors are going to jump ship because their stockbroker's going to say, oh, they just lost a big IP, get out now. All this kind of stuff, it will definitely have an effect.
It did happen with Activision and Bungie.
Exactly right.
When they lost Bungie, the Activision share price really tanked. I would just hope that this IP goes to a company that cares about making good games.
I would love that.
And is less focused on making all the fucking money.
I would love that, but I just don't think, you know, Andrew Wilson's opinion on the particular IP is going to change if they let go of that.
Well, I remain hopeful. I think the news that Andrew Wilson does not like this deal, the fact that everyone is piling on saying, please get rid of this, the fact the gaming community is like, we've had enough of this, and the fact that they've got so many cancellations under their belt, it creates this perfect concoction that is a new hope. A new hope that this license will be wrenched from the control of this fucking.
But I think the Empire will strike back. I think EA will strike back, everybody, okay? But guys, that is it for today. Thank you so much. Love you, appreciate you. Who knows what's going to happen? I don't know, right? But maybe Disney will just be like, fuck you, EA, we're taking this back. That's probably like the only way this is actually ever going to change. We won't know, guys. We will not know. So until next time, love you, appreciate you. See you.